All right, so I like shooting 44 Magnum, and I like shooting my Model 69 Combat Magnum. It's a fun snub nose for shooting 44 special and mild 44 Magnum rounds. You absolutely can shoot like full powered 44 Magnum, and it's fun for like the first two rounds and becomes increasingly less fun with each round after that. The problem I've run into is there isn't a whole lot of like factory defensive rounds that really fall into the more like mild 44 Magnum territory. I mean, there's 44 special defensive rounds, but I'm not that impressed with those unless you count like the Buffalo Bore or like the Underwood soft, lead semi wad cutter rounds. But those are really expensive and they're also like too smoky to really use in an indoor range. So today, my goal is to work up a snub nose defensive load for my 44 Magnum, and I'll be trying a few different bullets. Now, I already have a plinking load using the Barry's 44 Magnum 240 grain flat points. When I last chronographed these, the velocity was around 950, 960 feet per second, and my goal is going to be for 1,000 feet per second through the 3-inch barrel. The reason I'm targeting that velocity is looking around the internet, it kind of seems like once you drop below 1,000 feet per second, hollow point expansion starts to become maybe a little iffy. I mean, there's a bunch of like 45 ACP and 380 that never even touch 1,000 feet per second, but and they still get expansion, but it does seem like it's maybe less of a guarantee. So I'm going to shoot for 1,000 feet per second, and I have no real evidence to back that up, but that's essentially all reloading in a nutshell. It's fun lore. You have to just form your own opinions, but whatever, it's fun. Here are the bullets I'm going to test with. They're all 240 grains. The first one is going to be the Hornady XTP jacketed hollow point. The second is going to be the Nosler 240 grain 70 jacketed hollow point. And the final one is going to be a zero bullets semi-jacketed soft point. I'm mostly throwing this one in there just to have a third round, but it also has a different profile. I think this would maybe be more suited for like a lever action or like a full-size 44 Magnum to get like proper expansion with this. But so I'm more interested in the hollow points. And then I also have the Barry's plinking load I use. The load I normally use is around 14 to, or well, the load I use is 14.6 grains of accurate number 7. And let's take a look at the Western Powder Manual. So Rainier plated flat points, the range is 14 to 15.6 grains. Rainier plated bullets aren't made anymore, but if you do an image search of them, the Barry's bullets look very similar. And both this manual and the Barry's bullets recommend the same cartridge overall length, so that's good enough for me. There is also Hornady XTP listed here, and that starts at 14.5 grains and goes up to 16.1s. So I'm going to use 14.6 or we'll use 14.7 as my starting point and then go up to 15 and try that out as well. Now, looking closer at the bullets, notice the cannular location. The XTP and Nosler both have similar cannular locations, so if I seat to there, which I'm hoping the cartridge overall length will give me, I would think that they would have similar pressures, similar velocities, assuming everything else is the same, which of course they're not since they're constructed differently, but whatever, we'll say close enough. Now, the Barry's, to line the cannular up there, it's gonna be less bullet in the case. Or at least it's less likely to, depending on where the cartridge overall length will put it. But I would think it would have less pressure than the hollow points. So by that logic, if the Barry's got me around 960 feet per second at 14.6, then maybe these will be closer to 980 or maybe even 1,000. I don't know. We'll see. The zero bullets looks like it'll have the least amount of bullet in the cartridge, so I'm guessing that one will go slower. Anyway, I have a hypothesis. I'm going to test it, and if I can't get 1,000 feet per second with these rounds, and it's still comfortable to shoot, then I can always try with the 180 grain bullets, which is probably what should have done in the first place. But whatever, let's get these loaded up. All right, here are the results. The XTP and Nosler both got me the velocity I was looking for while still being manageable. All of these were for sure faster than the Barry's, but the Nosler ended up giving me a worse standard deviation or velocity spread. I think the 240 grain XTP I think is my best bet. The 15 grain slot is noticeably absent, since I forgot to hit the confirm distance button on the chronograph, so I missed all 5 shots on that. But I think 14.7 to 15 grains would be fine for the XTPs. The 14.7 grain load gave me a standard deviation of 12.7 feet per second. The zero bullets were kind of all over the place, and I think that was due to just having a ton of case capacity still remaining. So, that kind of actually goes for all these cartridges. So, accurate number 7 might not be the best option for this, but, it can still work. The recoil was stout, but not punishing. The 240 grain XTPs at 1,018 feet per second give me 552 foot-pounds of energy at the muzzle. So, that's pretty solid. I missed a couple of readings because I was kind of seeing how fast I can make follow-up shots. So ended up missing a couple and it was too fast for the chronograph, but still all of them had at least 4 shots. So learning from this, I think I want to try 2 more things in the future. First, I want to try the 180 grain XTP hollow points and again, shoot for the 1,000 feet per second, or see if I can possibly get up to 1,200 feet per second, which would be right around, 10 millimeter power, but with, a wider bullet. The other experiment I want to try is using the 240 grain bullet, but using it with tight group, since it's not position sensitive. That being said, I might not be able to get up to the right velocities before I hit max pressure, but it's something I want to try down the road. Okay, so this little experiment went better than I could have expected. I managed to hit my target velocities, and the recoil wasn't punishing. It does seem that from the large spread in velocities with accurate number 7, it isn't the best powder for 44 Magnum, but it totally will work. And the 240 grain XTPs would be a viable defensive option with this revolver if I want to mix them up. It also gave me a few ideas for things I want to try in the future. So, anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.